Yeah, one of the things I'd been wanting to do was to, incorporate Proverbs into my recovery stuff and follow the path of Christ, but I just didn't get around to that. I got lazy and I stopped doing it. It's one of the things one of my defects is I start projects and I don't finish. I do something and I don't keep going with it, you know. But here we are. It is May 29th. Let me try to throw Proverbs 29 in here. This is from the New Living Translation. So, what I want to do is read a little bit here and see where this was in my childhood, because this is supposed to be instructions on how to live and wisdom on what you do daily, right? So, let's see if there's any good thing. I put it in there. If it didn't occur, I won't. I don't know what was taught and what wasn't as a kid, but I'm going to try to remember and see if it was. So here we go. This is from the New Living Translation. I just got used to this translation, so we're going to read from here. It says this, verse 1. Whoever stubbornly refuses to accept criticism will suddenly be destroyed beyond recovery. When the godly are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked are in power, they groan. The man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, but if he hangs around with prostitutes, his wealth is wasted. A just king gives stability to his nation, but one who demands bribes destroys it. To flatter friends, to flatter friends is to lay a trap for their feet, but evil people are trapped by sin, but the righteous escape shouting for joy. The godly care about the rights of the poor, the wicked don't care at all. Mockers can get a whole town agitated, but the wise will calm anger. If a wise person takes a fool to court, there will be ranting and ridicule, but no satisfaction. The bloodthirsty hate blameless people, but the upright seek to help them. Fools vent their anger, but the wise quietly hold it back. If a ruler pays attention to liars, all his advisers will be wicked. The poor and the oppressor have this in common: the Lord gives sight to the eyes of both. If a king judges the poor fairly, his throne will last forever. To discipline a child produces wisdom, but a mother is disgraced by an undisciplined child. When the wicked are in authority, sin flourishes, but the godly will live to see their downfall. Discipline your child, and they will give you peace of mind and will make your heart glad. When people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild, but whoever obeys the law is joyful. Words alone will not discipline a servant. The words may be understood, but they are not heeded. There is more hope for a fool than for someone who speaks without thinking. A servant pampered from childhood will become a rebel. An angry person starts fights. A hot-tempered person commits all kinds of sin. Pride ends in humiliation, while humility brings honor. If you assist a thief, you only hurt yourself. You are sworn to tell the truth, but you dare not testify. Fearing people is a dangerous trap, but trusting the Lord means safety. Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice comes from the Lord. The righteous despite despise the unjust. The wicked despise the godly. I just want to briefly talk about some parts of Proverbs 29 that jump out at me. And basically, in childhood, there was no discipline. It was either really strict discipline in the form of punishment, or it was hands off, and basically we could do whatever the hell we wanted because we weren't being watched. We weren't being minded or watched or whatever, so that wasn't there. How can you expect a child to behave or learn the rule book of life if you're not there to discipline them and teach them what's right and what's not? Or if the example that you set for your children is wrong? Look, this is not about blaming people. when I speak out about what happened as a kid and what we went through and what was taught and what wasn't taught, I keep getting crucified for it because I think I'm telling a story that people don't want others to know about. Well, I'm speaking the truth, and I've got to speak this out because the truth needs to be told. That's very important. I don't live in a world now where I hide the truth. Oh, some things I still am not completely honest about. I fib a little. Sure, I do. That's true. But I'm working. I'm trying to become more honest, trying to become more straightforward, more trustworthy. And if I speak the truth, that should make a trustworthy person. And that's what I do. I want to be. I want to be a trustworthy person, so I have to speak the truth. It's not about blame. It's just about speaking how it was. When we were kids, um, basically the example we got set was that if you borrow a movie or video game or something from the store, from the movie rental place or the game rental place, we never took those back. And it just wasn't done. And we laughed about it at first, like thinking, oh, wow, you mean we can keep this movie? I remember we had a movie called Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's a great movie, a flick from the 90s, early 90s or whatever, late 80s, early 90s. Anyway, it was a great movie, and we kept that movie. We never took it back, and we kind of giggled, me and my brothers, like, we still have this. Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, we thought it was just this coolest thing ever. But actually, what we were learning in that time at that time was to be irresponsible and not to do the right things. You don't take movies back. You get to keep video games. You don't actually, wow. I mean, how can you believe? We just couldn't believe it. We knew as kids it wasn't the right thing, but the parents there in charge um, didn't take them back. I don't know how else to explain that, but basically that's not teaching your kids the right thing to do. And if we were uh, if my older brother was watching us, we kind of were allowed to kind of run wild. He would come in and check on us a little bit and crack the whip and say, don't do this or that. But really, we kind of were allowed to do whatever we want. We were alone. We were left alone a lot of times. So we could act up, break things, tear stuff up, and whatever. Then if my father got home, he would discipline us, spank us with a belt or something. I don't know where mom was. She was off doing her own thing. Who knows? I have no clue. I just remember she wasn't around a lot. And we were allowed to run around and do what we wanted. So in this part of the Bible, it talks about discipline your kids and you'll have peace. Well, we were never disciplined, and the parents didn't get peace. It's that simple. So they're reaping what they sowed. They're reaping what they sowed. Um, Now I've got to reparent myself with the ACA and recovery stuff. Tell myself it's okay, and to try to keep my kids in line, which is not easy to do because they want to run around and jump everywhere and break stuff and do whatever they want. So I've got it now. It's my responsibility to keep them in line. It wasn't done for me as a kid, but I've got to do it for my own kids, inner kids, and then biological children. When I have them, I'll have to do the same thing. The other thing it mentions here is about prostitutes. I've hung around, I've been in relationships where I spend so much money. And if a woman is allowing you to spend your money and not helping you, is not helping you build your money, but suck your money out, drain you dry financially, that's not a good relationship. And I've been in a few of those. I know what those look like. And I know what relationships look like where the woman helps the man build his finances and build an empire. Two totally different situations. Been in both. So, is there anything good? Is there anything I can say, from uh, Proverbs 29 that we were taught as children? Um, I'm sure there was some desire to teach us. I mean, I have to call it. for what it is. There was a desire to teach us right and wrong. There was the desire, but it got clouded by the family dysfunction and it just didn't get put in place properly. I think there was the desire. My grandparents desired for us to go to church and all that, but that just didn't stick. Um, Speaking things directly how they were, there was an attempt to do that, but you certainly didn't talk directly to your elders, to your parents, grandparents, whatever, or you're going to get popped in the mouth, backhand pop, slapped in the mouth, basically for that. It was pretty strict. My grandmother used switches on our legs and gave us bleeding whelps, marks on our legs as kids. We thought it was a game. So there was a lot of discipline, but there wasn't a lot of instruction. Discipline without instruction. Um, Sometimes I think those you've got to have those together. There was discipline from grandma, but when we were at the house, it just wasn't anybody around to really do it. I don't know. I don't want to keep talking too much about that. Just want to mention that. I think there was a desire. Things just got off the tracks and they just went the wrong way. So we did a lot of bad things and I did a lot of bad things later and I got shamed as punishment. That's not discipline. Punishment and discipline are two different things. You discipline a child because you love them, and that takes time and effort, and you've got to be there for the child. But when you shame a child, that's just punishment. That's torture. That's not discipline. So some people just didn't know how to do it right, and it just is what it is. We learn from it, and we just go on. But that's all I've got for Proverbs 29. I hope to continue with this. We'll see if you get anything out of it. Hope it helps. Talk later.